The internet is no stranger to all kinds of weird and unusual content. However, it's not very common that you find content like that on a platform like Instagram. So today we're going to take a look at some of the most strange Instagram accounts that people have discovered, all the way from bizarre internet personalities to some mysterious and even disturbing rabbit holes that people have came across. Before we get into it, I wanted to give a quick thank you to Raycon for sponsoring this video. Now that the holidays are over, it's the perfect time to upgrade your gear with Raycon's bone conduction headphones. Whether you're running errands, going to the gym, or really doing any day-to-day task, then these are the perfect headphones to have. I've been using these a lot while I work at home, or especially to help me listen to lessons or even music while I'm studying for school, so I would definitely recommend them. Raycon's bone conduction headphones also have a lot of cool features as well. First of all, the way that they work is that they use off-ear audio, sending sound through vibrations in your bones. This means that you can hear the rest of the world around you while still being able to clearly hear your audio through your headphones. They're also able to be used in pretty much any situation, whether you got them in sweat or even rain, and the fact that they have a 13-hour battery life plus IP68 waterproof and dustproof makes them even better. However, most importantly, with the Raycons, you're getting the same premium audio quality that you are with all the other big brands, but at half the cost. Right now is the perfect time to upgrade your audio for the new year. Over 3 million customers already love Raycon, plus they come with a 30-day happiness guarantee. Make sure to click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/808savionbc to get 20% off site-wide. But yeah, thank you to Raycon for sponsoring this video, and yeah, let's get back into it. Earlier this year, one day I was doing a little bit of scrolling and I had came across an Instagram reel by a man named Dr. Skoch. And little did I realize I had just discovered a pretty strange rabbit hole that no one seems to have discovered yet.
I have taken over the United States military with psychotronics. They have a choice to shut down their military. Otherwise, I will be using the United States military to do what I need.
Looking at his account, at the time he had probably less than 100 followers. However, he would be posting pretty much multiple times a day where he would go on some pretty interesting rants.
You see what happens when you lie about what causes health issues? Niggas start losing their legs.
So yeah, by now you probably have a pretty good idea of the kind of content that he posts, and over time he would occasionally get a video that even blows up, eventually even getting him a bit of a following as well. Every single reel that I saw from him, I had gained more questions than I did answers. However, I realized that there was two major things that he would constantly mention throughout his post. The first was something called soberism, and the next is something that he calls psychotronics.
These people are victims of soberist psychotronics.
If you're anything like me, you're probably asking yourself, what the hell is this dude talking about? Alright, we're going to take a look at this one and hopefully it explains what he's talking about.
What are soberists? What are substance users? Soberists, they're people that try to force lies, their vocabulary deficient. Substance users are people that do not try and abuse and manipulate others over whatever substance they use.
Alright, so it looks like this guy is against people who are sober. As far as what he calls psychotronics, after taking a look, it seems like that actually is a known thing. According to the most reliable source of information, Wikipedia, it says psychotronic torture is alleged mind control by the electronic and electromagnetic means. One person replied to a post from Dr. Skoch asking him what a psychotronic is, and Mr. Skoch had given a completely different definition from what was online, saying that a psychotronic is any human anywhere. So yeah, it seems like this is some pretty deep stuff. If you take a look at his bio, he actually claims that he's a psychotronic deterrence weapon developer and a mental health professional. Even though these are the main two things that he talks about in his videos, it doesn't seem like there's a direct correlation between psychotronics and soberism. However, he does also venture into some other topics as well.
Until they shut off their terrorist weapon attacks today, we will be frying MAGA girl ovaries all day long.
Taking a look at the comments under some of his posts, some of the comments are pretty interesting as well. Why does his vote count as much as mine? It's been a while, but I'm finally starting to be able to translate him. He's onto something with this one. I'm going to start smoking crack because of you. I am a lesbian psychotronic agent and I approve of this message. Are you autistic? However, one question that does come up a lot is what are the actual origins of Dr. Skoch and how did he even get to this point? At first, I did a quick Google search with his full name, Daniel Skoch, and couldn't find anything relating to him, which was not too surprising. However, what I did discover is that after I accidentally made a typo while trying to search for his account, I came across this account with 3 followers, and tell me this guy does not look like Mr. Skoch. Now, I can't be 100% certain that this is actually him, but if it is, his bio mentions that he's a guitar player for an artist/band called Price Point who has been inactive for over 4 years now at this point. And if this is actually him, that's really all we know about Dr. Skoch. It's also strange that his name is spelled differently on both accounts, so I'm not sure what that's about. Even after 1,598 posts, we still do not really know who he is, if it's a joke, if he's being serious, if it's some sort of mental illness, or really anything about him, other than the fact that he is not a fan of soberists and psychotronics for whatever reason, and also lesbians. But hey, if y'all are looking for an account with the most interesting content of all time, then hey, feel free to drop a sub. The next Instagram accounts that we have are accounts related to the phenomenon known as gang stalking.
Just leaving Subway and I have my little stalker waiting for me, watching me walk out. Told you guys they love to park right there.
A little while back, I started getting these strange posts recommended to me of people claiming that they are being stalked, harassed, and targeted by a mysterious group of people. Now, I quickly realized that this wasn't just one or a few people making posts like these. There is an entire community of thousands of people who believe that they are being gang stalked, as they call it. Now, this is a pretty well-known thing, but for anyone who doesn't already know what gang stalking is, the term gang stalking relates to people who believe that they are being followed, stalked, and harassed by a large number of people, usually by the government or some sort of organization that they believe is following them. One of the largest, if not the largest account related to gang stalking is by a woman named Lisa Legg, also known as Sued by Cheaters, who has gained over 400,000 followers by posting her gang stalking experiences online.
I'm being stalked heavily in California. Look at this. I'm going like 25 and a 40 because I want this guy to pass me and get away from me, and he will not.
Her most popular video has 40 million views, and a lot of people might think that she's crazy or just doing a little bit of joking around. However, once you go through the rest of her posts, you will quickly realize that this is way more serious than you might expect. In her post, she claims that she is being followed while driving, people are hacking her devices and deleting evidence, people are breaking into her car, breaking into her home, moving her medicine around, and even drugging her cat. Keep in mind, all the posts that I just showed y'all, this is all in the past month of me making this. Now, unlike Dr. Skoch, who has little to no background information that's public, if you take a look at Lisa's bio, she actually has some information that's a little bit more revealing of her backstory. If you click the link in her bio, it takes you to her link tree where you can find all kinds of stuff, such as a website with tons of educational information on gang stalking, an Amazon wishlist containing things like tinfoil hats, an EMF protection hood, cameras, and all kinds of other things that might help her out. And most importantly, if you look at her bio, it states that she was stalked by the feds after a relationship with a federal law enforcement officer ended badly, giving us some information into how her situation came about. In case after all that you still think that it's a joke or that she's doing it all for attention, here's footage of her explaining to a police officer that a gang stalker has been stalking her and breaking into her car. Even if you do think that this is just for attention, if you take a look at the comments, there are hundreds of people under every single post who also share that they experience gang stalking as well. Looking at these accounts, most of these people are older individuals who tend to post similar content to each other. I mean, they've even banded together to create their own gang stalking memes. One of these accounts I came across was by a woman with over 22,000 posts, which are all related to gang stalking as far as I can tell. One common thing I see with a lot of these people is that many of them will talk about harmful frequencies.
It's December the 4th, 2025, and my knees are getting targeted from underneath the sink and underneath my kitchen sink too. Both of my knees are getting targeted right now, making them stiff.
I'm not entirely sure how this correlates with gang stalkers, but most of the people who say they experience gang stalking also experience these harmful frequencies. Now, I will say, I genuinely do feel bad for a lot of these people, and apparently it's a common thing that people with mental illnesses like schizophrenia experience. Even if gang stalking wasn't real, they still do think it's real and have to live with it every day. And according to a lot of people, it can actively ruin relationships with friends, family, and even ruin their lives in a lot of cases. So while I do feel bad for those people, unfortunately, a lot of them do seem to take it too far sometimes, to the point where some of them are basically harassing people that they think they are being harassed by.
I gotta film all the empty tables so I can show how ridiculous this is.
A lot of the time, these people will show alleged footage of these gang stalkers coming up to them and pulling out their phone to record. But if I had to guess, it's probably because those people were being recorded first and probably weren't too happy about that. I mean, you can literally see this guy mouthing, "Got you too." Honestly, I really do wish the best for these people. I think a lot of people see these posts online, but don't actually realize how much it ruins these people's lives. Now, unfortunately, some of the people behind the accounts I'm about to mention might not be as innocent. Earlier this year, strange accounts were floating around Instagram which were found by a user on Reddit. The Reddit post is titled, "Dozens of weird Instagram accounts with seemingly random symbols," with the description mentioning that he had stumbled upon these while scrolling through his feed one day. If you take a look at one of these accounts, you will find countless pictures of seemingly random symbols on them, all with some sort of bright bluish tint. The accounts that they follow simply just link to another account that posts the exact same type of images. And it's not even just a few of these accounts, there are hundreds if not thousands of these accounts that are all linked to each other, which also date back to around 2020, with many of the accounts still posting today. Now, off first glance, it might not seem like there's anything significant behind these images. However, people have been speculating that there might be some sort of secret message that's actually tied into them. In the comments, many people, including the original posters, speculate that these accounts might be related to some sort of predator ring. The original poster had actually mentioned under his own post, saying, "I found creepy accounts linked with predatory behavior and and when I looked into this, I found these as well. One account has a highlight of recording children going into their car. It's disgusting. Yeah, so these accounts are definitely looking a little bit suspicious. Not long after, more people started discussing these strange accounts across the internet, and we had no idea who was behind these accounts or what their purpose was. At least that's what we thought. One theory I have seen floating around a couple times is that these accounts might be related to Smart Schoolboy 9, who, if you don't already know, was an older man who pretended to be children on the internet. Similar to these new accounts, he would also operate under several Instagram accounts, all pretending to be children with some pretty creepy looking characters that he had going on, where he would digitally alter pictures of real children. While there are similarities between both cases, there has been no solid evidence that proves that these accounts were connected to Smart Schoolboy 9 in any way. However, there has been one discovery which kind of gives us the answer to the entire case. If you go through enough of the accounts, eventually they all link back to one account under the name Claude Jean Marie. While the account is very similar to the other accounts, such as only following one person and posting all these random images, this is the only account which has an actual name tied to it and a profile picture that isn't one of those weird symbols. Now, if you dig through enough and take a look at some of the older posts, there is one comment which asks about what the meaning and purpose of all these accounts are, and the owner of the account actually replied back. Now, the response is in French, but as far as I could tell, according to my genius translations, it looks like they're basically saying it's an experiment and a countdown. Now, while the answer is a bit vague, I've still seen people talk about these weird accounts to this day, especially on YouTube, and it seems like most of these people didn't even know there was a main account that all these pages were tied into. What is interesting is that a lot of these usernames can be translated from French, with one user pointing out that one of the usernames translates to the small last, which apparently refers to the youngest in the family, which is kind of creepy. One person pointed out that this user was also mutuals with Smart Schoolboy 9. However, since all of Smart Schoolboy 9's accounts have been taken down, I can't really confirm that personally, but it definitely is interesting and kind of suspicious how deep this rabbit hole goes down. Chris Monte 94 is an account on Instagram which has kind of gone viral for posts that feature him with a family of dolls that he has created, which are a little bit unsettling. These posts have gone on since around 2021, where Christian would post updates on his life with his new family, all the way from pictures at home, them going out together, and even documenting the birth of his new children. As you might imagine, these videos raise a lot of questions. Who is this guy? Why does he have a family of dolls? How did we get to this point? And is this whole thing even real in the first place? Well, over the years, I've heard quite a few theories about this account, with the most popular theory being that people believe that he lost his family in a car accident and his coping mechanism was to replace them with dolls. While it does kind of make sense why that would be a possible explanation, the real reason is actually not as dark as you would expect. About 8 months ago, a fellow content creator named Tov, who y'all be saying is my long lost brother, uploaded an interview to YouTube featuring Christian, which gave a lot of insight into his personal life. Christian said that he actually had a pretty normal upbringing, even having a girlfriend for a while until the relationship ended. Now, what's interesting is that even before his real partner, he already had a ragdoll family that he had created before he got with his girlfriend. After the breakup, the dolls continued to help him deal with his loneliness. However, with all the recent attention, he's gained a lot of support from people not only online, but in real life as well, and is consistently still posting to this day. Let me know if y'all know any accounts y'all would like me to cover down in the comments. It doesn't even have to be from Instagram. But yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. As always, if y'all did, then feel free to drop a sub. We're trying to hit 100K. And yeah, peace y'all.